This is you, and then this is you say something. And this is another person. And they're gonna hear what you say, and then they're going to interpret, this is a brain. They're gonna interpret what you say, and then they're gonna have a reaction. That reaction might be they say something back. They might have like a facial expression, like a smile or a frown, and then they're gonna like do something. So this is in the most basic level, like what happens is we say something. Now our words are neutral, but they're gonna hear our words based on their programming, beliefs, perspectives, conditioning, and they're gonna make meaning of that. They're gonna run it through the filters that they've created, and then that's gonna determine how they react. And then whatever their reaction, now we hear it or see it, and then we're going to create meaning from that. This is communication. But again, our words, their reaction is all neutral. And what we want to focus on is like, what is the meaning making that's happening? They're creating meaning, we're creating meaning, and we're reacting to the meaning making on both sides. So what we have learned to do is before we even speak, we predict because that's how the brain runs. Runs on prediction. It's like, okay, in this situation, maybe with this person, I got to predict what their reaction is going to be, what I think they're going to do, say, feel. And so now I'm going to try to say the thing to get the reaction that I want. This moves us further and further and further away from our truth because now it is a overly formulated, edited, perfected, edges sanded off version of what we want to say. And that is what they receive. So what this creates is like, so if I could move these two people further away from each other, that actually creates distance because now they're responding to a half truth, a partial truth, an edited truth, or no truth, a lie, a complete lie, like when we say yes when we mean no, or we say what the other person wants to hear, but what we don't actually believe or think or feel. And so this creates disconnection. This creates the opposite of what the whole point of all of this is. Because when it comes down to it, at the heart of it, all people pleasing, the editing, the micromanaging ourselves, the hiding is to preserve connection. It is to preserve a sense of belonging, of love. But the problem is the way that we're currently doing it, when we do this whole before we even talk, we have to like figure out how do we say this? How do I say this in the best way? How do I, or maybe I just don't say anything, and maybe I just stay quiet or I hide, and so there's no chance of connection. So this is all an attempt to try to control the other person in service of can I stay connected? Can I maintain belonging? And ultimately, because that feels safer. From a very primitive standpoint, we need each other to survive. And anything that threatens that feels very unsafe. But the way that we're doing this, the way that we're trying to create connection, safety, belonging, is the very long, hard, less effective route.